guys, what's up? So today me and my dad are going to be taking out my transmission in order to replace my throwout bearing, which has gone bad. Subaru and Toyota, they put not a good throwout bearing in their cars, and they could go bad after 50,000, 60,000 miles. So you have to replace this, and we didn't want to pay like $1,000 for someone else to install a $30 part, so we're going to try to do it ourselves. And hopefully we can get it done, because if we mess up, then that's bad. So we're going to start. We have the car up. You want to make sure the car is high enough so you can take the transmission out. I'll show you how we did that in a second. We took out all the pieces from the under panel, and we took out the exhaust. It's basically just the center part that's blocking the transmission, so you can't remove it. You don't have to take out the header or like basically the exit of the exhaust. You just need the center part of the exhaust, so we took that one out already. So let me show you how we got the car up. What we did to get the car up is first we had regular ramps, and then my dad made some basically like some wood stands so we could get the car up a little bit higher. And in the back we got some cinder blocks and some other wood stands, and we have some jack stands here just for safety in the front and in the back. And we also have our lift up here in the back just for safety as well. So we have the car lifted up. It's about 16 inches off the ground, so hopefully that's high enough, and it's giving us plenty of room to work. So this is the part of the exhaust you need to take out. This is the front pipe, and I think this is the mid pipe. So you just need those two pieces of the exhaust. You can take those two pieces out, and the rest of the exhaust you don't need to worry about. You just need those two pieces of the exhaust so you can get access to the transmission and everything else you need to take it out. Okay guys, so we've already taken out the exhaust, and now we have access to basically the transmission over there and this piece right here. And we're gonna have to take this piece out, so there's 4 bolts here we're gonna have to remove. And we're gonna have to remove the 2 bolts up here. We're gonna be able to move this piece out, but we'll see as we go. Alright guys, so what we've done so far is we've drained the transmission fluid. You need a 10mm like socket to open it up, and you can drain it out. We drained it out because we don't want any of the transmission fluid spilling on us when we're taking out the transmission. We also removed the shaft completely. I'll show you guys, it's right here on the floor. So we removed the shaft. It was just those full bolts and then the 2 bolts up there holding it up, and then we just pulled it out. So that part wasn't that bad. Also, up here, up front, we disconnected some bolts for the transmission itself. So up here, I'll show you guys in the engine bay. So there's a bolt back here for the transmission that was kind of hard to get to, but I was up here and my dad was at the bottom, so I was able to guide him through it, and he was able to loosen it up, and then we were able to take it out. And then we also zip tied some stuff up here so it wouldn't be falling down when we took it out. There's also some other bolts up here we took off, so we basically just loosened all the bolts, and so we can be ready to take it out when we get to that step. Alright guys, I'm not sure where we left off last, but we just went inside the interior. We took apart like the center piece so we can get access to basically the stick shift, and then we have to remove the stick shift. So we've already removed it, it's right here on the floor. But to remove it, basically, you basically take off that whole center console, and then once you take all that, you have to go underneath the car, and there's going to be a rubber piece. I'll show you guys that in a bit. You take off that rubber piece, and then there's going to be like a little pin. You take that pin out, and then you can go from the top and just take out the whole like stick shift, gearbox, I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, you can take that whole piece out. And it's just cut. You just have to, it's not that bad, you just need to take out their interior, and there are a couple bolts. Make sure you take note of like which direction is the forward direction for your gearbox, for your stick shift. We put some blue tape on the front to let it know like that's where it is. Also, there's a little piece in there that is basically the lockout mechanism, so you can't go into reverse. Make sure you take note of that. Put some markers on there so you know where that should go. And now I think the next step is to go underneath the car and take out the transmission. So if you guys look right here, this is the rubber piece I was talking about. You can actually go underneath the car, and it is easier to push it out, and then there's just going to be a pin there holding it. You take the pin out and you can take out the whole stick shift. Alright guys, so we just took a little snack break. but we finally got the transmission out. I'll show you guys that in a minute. So all that's left is we just have to replace the throwout bearing and then put the transmission back in. The transmission was kind of difficult to get. It wasn't like difficult to get out, but it's just that we just gotta like kind of have to like pry it out a little bit, pry it out, and then eventually it'll all come out, and then you just gotta lower it down very carefully. So we got that. The bearing shouldn't be too hard to put the new bearing in, but our only worries right now is just putting the transmission back in. Once we get that done, everything else is simple. Everything else is just putting everything else back on the car. That's like the easy part. But these like last two steps are these like middle two steps, I would say, like middle two / last two. Taking the transmission out and putting it back in are going to be the hardest. So once we do that, everything else will be smooth sailing. So let me come show you guys what it looks like. Alright guys, so here's the transmission, and then here you can see my throwout bearing. I can tell from over here, I can already tell that it's pretty bad. When we take it out, I'll give you guys a better look at it, but we don't want to take the transmission like all the way out because we don't think our car is high enough. So we should just be able to take the bearing out from here, put the new one in, and then we're gonna have to put the clutch or put the transmission back in there. So hopefully it won't be too difficult, but we'll see. And yeah, hopefully we can get it done pretty soon. So we got the piece of shit throwout bearing out, and yeah, you can tell that it's bad. You can just hear it. Yeah, so you can tell it's worn out. So we're gonna take that out. We're gonna get the clutch fork. We're gonna clean it up a bit. We're gonna re-grease everything, put the new bearing in. For the new throwout bearing, what I did was, so I got a 2017 throwout bearing because for the 2017 models, they actually changed the throwout bearing and they got a better one. They put better grease inside of it. So I think the reason why these throwout bearings go bad is I read online that the grease inside the bearing wasn't good enough and it wasn't able to withstand the heat. So over time, like around 50,000, 6,000 miles, it's not able to withstand the heat and it just goes bad faster. So if you get the 2017 bearing, and you can tell it's a 2017 bearing because it'll have a white dot right here on the side. I don't know if you guys can see that. So that's how you know it's a 2017 bearing. These should be able to last a lot longer and it shouldn't give you that many issues. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least. So hopefully this won't give me any issues. And if you guys want a secret tip, if you have a BRZ, you can go to the Toyota dealership and you can buy these bearings for cheaper because the Subaru tax on them, it ends up being like $60, but Toyota, you can buy them and it'll be about $30. So that's a tip for you guys. Also another thing, for greasing the bearing, make sure you use a high temperature grease. Just use I think any high temperature grease will work, but make sure you use high temperature grease because it's gonna get hot in there. So you need high temperature grease so it doesn't get too hot in there. Alright, let's get to it. Okay guys, we put everything back. Now all there's left to do is turn on the car and see if everything works. So here's for the moment of truth. So good. The car turned on. I put it in first gear, started rolling a bit when I started releasing the clutch. I don't hear the throwout bearing noise anymore, so I'm about to pull out the garage and see how it goes. Alright guys, so we finished installing everything. I drove the car, everything works fine. It doesn't make the throwout bearing noise anymore, so the car's good. So everything's good and we were able to do it. As for the install itself, it's not an easy install. It took a lot of time and we've never done it before. So we did everything, we took our time. There's a lot of stuff you have to unbolt off your car. You have to make sure you do everything carefully because, you know, yeah, if you mess this up, you can like cause some problems for your car. So we took our time, we did everything. We didn't know if it was gonna work or not, but it ended up working. We did everything well. It probably took us maybe around 8 hours to do everything. So it was a pretty long install. We started probably around 10 in the morning, 9 or 10, and we finished around 6 o'clock. So yeah, it took us a while to do everything, but we were able to get it done, and we did it. I tried to record as much as I could, but me and my dad were basically underneath the car a lot of the time. I tried to show you guys as much as I could. I would say it's possible to do with one person, but it would be very, very difficult. If you try to do this at home, you need at least 2 people, I would say. It'll probably make the work a lot easier. There's a lot of steps where if you have another person, it'll be very helpful. Like for instance, there's a bolt near the engine where the transmission is attached to, and it's like on the higher end, and you have to basically undo it from the bottom because you won't be able to fit your wrench from the top of the engine bay. So you kind of need someone on top of the car, like looking while someone's underneath. You need someone on top to like help guide the wrench in so you can undo it. And then when you're taking the transmission out, of course, having another person there is always helpful. You don't want the transmission to tip over or fall, so having 2 people underneath the car, keeping the transmission from falling over, is good. Overall, I just want to say thanks to my dad. Like without you, I wouldn't even be able to do any of the stuff I've done to my car without my dad. Like I want to say thanks to my dad, and I just want to say Happy Father's Day to you, and Happy Father's Day to all the other dads out there. I don't know how my dad does it. He literally knows how to do everything. I can't even comprehend how he like knows all this stuff. Where do you learn this? Like how do you know how to do this stuff? I have no idea how you do it. Thanks for always being there for me. So Happy Father's Day, Dad, and Happy Father's Day to all the other dads out there. Once again, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it helped some of you guys out, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.